You can see it's going to be a bearing question. So, as you've been taught, what you should be doing at this stage, while you're reading the question, is underline and the key words and key aspects of the question, just to open up what you need to do and make sure you got a clear idea of what's happening. So, Port Douglas is 55 kilometres from. It's the first thing you got to make sure you got your head around. From Cairns on a bearing of 315 degrees. Green Island is 28 kilometres from Cairns. So once again, from, on a bearing of 037 degrees. The word from is crucial. And a big tip, when any bearings question, as you'll find as you're doing them, you should always put in the north direction, the northerly direction, from where the bearing is being measured from. Okay, and we'll allude more to that as we do the question. So, part 1, calculate size of theta. Okay, so what we've got here, we've got theta in here, and we know that from north, so because it says up here, from Cairns on a bearing of 350, but then it goes on to say Green Island is 28 kilometres from Cairns on a bearing of 37 degrees. So from Cairns, you always measure in a clockwise direction from the northerly line, and you take your bearing from Cairns. So that angle in there is 37 degrees. Okay, so basically what we've got here is angle NCG. You can label it as. So that's 37 degrees. What we're missing is this angle in here. Okay, which you can call angle PCN. So what we're after is angle PCN to help us find the whole theta. So how do we find that? Well, we know that if you take your bearing from Cairns and you go all the way around, it's 360 degrees. Now if you go back to the question, it says Port Douglas, which is here, is 55 kilometres from Cairns on a bearing of 315 degrees. So from Cairns, so this is your mark, this is your starting point, you go around and it's 315 degrees. So to find out what's missing in there, we know that a full revolution is 360, so what we can say is that angle PCN is equal to 360 minus 315, because that's the bearing from Cairns to Port Douglas, as stated up here and in there, which is equal to 45 degrees. Therefore, okay, angle angle PCG, you can call it, is equal to, not running out of space here, angle PCN plus angle NCG, which is 45 degrees plus 37 degrees, which makes it 82 degrees. So that is theta. Theta is 82 degrees. Okay. Now, find the distance from Port Douglas to Green Island, correct to the nearest kilometre. Look, to make this, because your diagram, you've already annotated a fair bit and you've added extra bits and bobs, there is absolutely nothing wrong with drawing another diagram just to help you isolate the problem that you're investigating here. So what I'm going to do is just draw a little triangle. Don't have to spend too much time on it. Make it clear. Label it P, C, G. Now put in the facts that you need. Well, you know this is 82 degrees because you've derived that in part 1. You know that's 55 kilometres. You know that's 28 kilometres. And this is your missing side. The distance from Port Douglas to Green Island, which we'll just label it as X. So the next step is, how do I work this out? How do I find that X value? Now, clearly, we've got a triangle, and it's a non-right angle triangle, so the thing that should come to mind is non-right angle trigonometry. So you've got two options. Option 1, the sine rule. Option 2, the cosine rule. And you've got to remember, you've got to look for those triggers. When do you use the sine rule? When do you use the cosine rule? Well, the sine rule you use when you've got two pairs. Two pairs. So you've got a side and angle, side and angle. In this situation, you haven't got that. Cosine rule, if you've got two sides and the included angle, plus the opposite side to the included angle, that's when you can use the cosine rule. So this is a perfect situation where you can use the cosine rule. It's the only rule you can use. So cosine rule, a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a squared equals 55 squared plus 28 squared minus 2 lots of 55 times 28 cos 82 degrees. Let me just move the book a little bit there. There we go. Now, that's as far as in terms of what working out needs to be shown, needs to happen. If you at least demonstrate you've substituted in correctly into the cosine rule, that's going to help you get a mark. Now, if you do something wrong in your calculator, at least you've demonstrated that you've substituted incorrectly. So once you plug that in and work it all out, you get x, or PG, is equal to 58 kilometres to the nearest kilometre. Okay? So that's done. 2 marks in the bag. Now, part 3. And I'm going to have to scroll up a little bit here. Okay. What is the bearing of Green Island? And once again, from Port Douglas. From Port Douglas. So this is where people always have misconceptions. Is not understanding that you're measuring from. Okay, so what that means, the big tip that I will always give with trig work and bearing work is wherever you're measuring the bearing from, put in a northerly direction line. Actually, I haven't got space there, so what I'll do is I'll just draw another little diagram to demonstrate what I mean. So you've got point P, which is there, you've got G, which is there. Now from Port Douglas, put my northerly in. Okay, now what have I got? I need to find the bearing. I need to find the bearing from Port Douglas to Green Island. So this is the angle I need to find. Okay, what else do we know? We know this is 28, we know this is 55, and we know this is 82 degrees. So in order to find that angle, what can we do? Now, we know that from Cairns, if I put in the northerly line there, okay, because that's another significant point on the map, we've been told that, or we've worked out above that angle PCN is 45 degrees. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's 45 degrees in there. I can write it up here just to make that clearer. So what we need to do is look at what have we got on the diagram. Never underestimate the power of having those two northerly lines in there. Straight away that tells you you've got parallel lines. And you go back to your Year 7 and Year 8 maths, parallel lines, okay? You look at alternate angles, corresponding angles, and co-interior angles. Now you know, when you've got a C shape, you're looking at co-interior angles, so you know that the angle from here all the way down to there, if that's 45, I'll call it angle NPC has got to be 180 minus 45, which is 135 degrees. Okay, so we've got more angle than what we need. So therefore, in order to find this angle, what we need to do is work out what this angle is and minus it from 135. So the question now is, how do you find this angle here, which I'll mark in as alpha? So your options are cosine rule, sine rule. What have you got? You've worked out before that this is 58. Now in this situation, you've got one pair and you've got another pair. So straight away that tells you you're using the sine rule. Okay, because you've got angle and an opposite side, missing angle and opposite side, so you've got two pairs, so you're good to go to use the sine rule. So all you've got to do now is just substitute it in. You're finding an angle, so therefore it's sine A over A equals sine B over B. Therefore sine, what are we looking at here? alpha equals, sorry, over 28 equals sine 82 over 58. Okay, you work that out. So you get sine alpha is equal to 28 sine 82 over 58. And when you plug that into your calculator, you get alpha is equal to, plug it into your calculator, 29 degrees to the nearest degree. So that's only part done. So now to find the bearing, it's just a matter of, therefore, angle MPG is equal to 180 minus 29, which works out to be 106 degrees true. So therefore, you should write a statement. The bearing of Green Island, I don't know if you can see this, but from Port Douglas is 106 degrees true. Now that is, I'll just show that there, and that is a very good question, and I hope